In this series, we're going to discuss the export files portion of the system. This is a key area because this is where you'd be able to download your data, export a questionnaire, or download files that have been uploaded to your survey by a respondent. We'll show you all the different features and filters available, including date ranges, respondent types, whether they are test or live data, and also the folks who are either completes, terms, or in process. In this session, we're going to learn about downloading data. In each project, this is called the export file section. So if I go to the specific project that I want to download data from, I'll select the navigation menu, and here I will select export files in the data and reporting column. First thing I'd like to point out is there are a number of filters and options that you can select in order to get the data file that you wish to obtain. First is the file type. This is a drop-down with all the built-in options that we have available. So we've got CSV, stacked CSV filed, ASCII, SPSS, coordinates. This is a specific export just for the coordinate tracker exercise. So that's kind of specific to that particular data, but the rest are for the general data. CSV data map, tab data map, XLS readable, some SSS options, and then we have a structure file type, which is the word survey definition. This is a word output of the survey that you've programmed. So in essence, it's the way to export your questionnaire directly from Cmix. So here I'm going to leave it as CSV. The layout is the default, meaning that you'll get all the questions and all the variables programmed within your particular survey. In a future session, we'll go into the ability to create a layout template, but we're going to just skip that for now. So we're going to leave that as default. The data type, by default, it's live, so you're just looking at live data. You can select test data if you want to review that, or you can select all to get everything. You do have an optional file name area. It'll just help you sort through and filter through the data files that will appear towards the bottom, and we'll show you that in a moment. You do have some date options. Please note the biggest question that we do receive is whether or not this is a date range, and it is not. These are two independent filters. So you'll have a start date, and then there's a calendar option that you can select from, and then an end date that you can also select from. They're mutually exclusive, so they are not a range. So, and as an example, if I selected May 12th here, this means that I'm going to get anybody who had a start date on May 12th. If I select an end date of, say, May 15th, this means I'm also going to get anybody that completed on May 15th. So it'll be all of the people who started on May 12th and all of the people who ended on May 15th. So again, they are exclusive. They are not a range. The next option is the status. So there are three options here. By default, completes is what is included, but you can toggle on the in process and the terms as you wish, or toggle the completes off and select just terms or just in process. Whatever you need to do here, you can totally select the options that you are looking for. Then the response query option is another optional one. This will allow you to use our formula syntax to be able to filter your data file that you want to export. So as a very rudimentary example, let's say you have a gender question, punch 1 is male, punch 2 is female. If you only want to include in your data file all the folks that are males as an example, and let's say that's Q1, you can go in here and say Q1 equals 1. So if Q1 does not equal 1, those folks are going to be filtered out of that data file. Again, not required, just an additional filter if you're looking to do so. And all of our formula syntax options are available here. And this little eye icon will send you to the logic syntax article within our knowledge base. And here is a very robust list of all of the logical syntax operators and formula types that we have available. So that first column is where you're going to look. So equals, doesn't equal, less than, greater than, equals, mathematical functions, and a variety of others. So you can use any of those options. And then you'll hit generate file. So I'm just going to leave it as the default here. So it was CSV, the default layout, live, respondents. I don't have any data here, so this is probably going to say 0. So I will actually select all just in case I have any data at all. And then I can click on generate. So once you click on the generate button in the data file section, the line item will appear. It'll give you the file type, date. You just saw that line item updated very quickly there, but there's the date. So you have a timestamp. File name, which corresponds to this field on the top right. I did not indicate anything here, so that's blank. The file type. This is just a layout number. All of my filters, so I had all respondents and all completes. It's ready to download, but there are 0 records in total. So right now I have 0 data in this particular survey, but I can, if I wanted to, click on download, and it will just download to your computer, and you would save it as you see fit wherever you need to. You can also click on the delete option if you wanted to remove this line item, but by default the system will keep all of the data options that were downloaded. So all of your data files that you selected in the past, or anybody else who has access has downloaded, will remain here. They are not removed by default at any point. The only way to remove them is to manually go over here and delete it. Now the other main question that we do receive as well is, if I made a data layout, downloaded my data, and reviewed it, maybe it was after your soft launch to review your data, do any sort of quality checks or anything like that, and then you go back into field. So let's say you had, after soft launch, you had 50 completes, as an example. If you go back into field, and now you've got 200 a couple days later in total. If you come to this area and you see this line item here and you click on download, you're still only going to get those 50. It's not going to tack on the additional 150 that you have at this point in time. So if you wanted more data, you'd have to use the filters up at the top and hit generate and create a new data download. So these are snapshots in time, hence the timestamp. The other piece that I'll show you quickly is that you can see towards the bottom is that you have a survey file section. So there are really 2 download areas. The reason for that is because if I selected if I scroll very, very bottom, the word survey definition, the questionnaire file, you'll see that you will get a different little set of filters here, because the others are not applicable, because they're only tied to the actual data, and this is just for the survey definition or the questionnaire file. The default is whatever you have as your default locale in the build and edit tool. So if you had other languages programmed, you will be able to filter based off of that. And if you wanted to, again, create a file name, you can. You don't have to. But if you hit generate, that will show up at the very bottom in the survey file section and not the data file section. So they're 2 independent areas. It's currently being queued, so it's just not ready yet. It's a very short survey, so it should pick up rather quickly. Once it's ready for download, that option, the download button, will appear. And again, same idea. This line item will remain here unless somebody physically comes here and deletes it. If you do not delete it, it'll just remain there. And you can say it's now ready. The progress just updated as I was speaking. So I can go and download it if I wish. Save it to my computer. And if I open it up, this is what it would look like. There's a survey title, has the page numbers, it shows you what the questions are, the logic pages. It gives you a summary on, in this particular case, I have randomizations. And the others were really some dummy questions, but at the very, very bottom, it'll have the variables and concepts, if you have any. We do have a number of them that appear by default, because they're the default in every single survey. And then survey content. So these would be the default text for things like error messaging throughout the platform. So here's all the defaults. So this is really the equivalent of the review outline, which we've discussed in a prior session, but they're really the equivalent, just cleaned up here in a slightly different format so that you can review it and that the Microsoft Word option would actually be able to translate it into an arrangement that makes sense organizationally and aesthetically. Just close out of that. Another option that you'll see is a newer feature that we recently added, which is the generate respondent file. It appears by default for every survey. There's no filter currently tied to this, so it'll always appear here for now. There is going to most likely be a change in this particular feature in the future, but we have two question types that are custom built questions. They're both tied to a respondent being able to upload either an image or a video through a survey. If those particular exercises have been implemented within your survey, if you wanted to review that data, meaning the actual files, the images and or the videos that were uploaded to the survey, you could come here and click on this button and it would download the file for you. If there's none, then you would get a no files to download message that would appear here. And this has been an overview of the export files feature to be able to download data and your questionnaire file or any sort of respondent files that have been uploaded to a survey.